Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. As you can probably tell by my eyeballs, I purchased a ring light. It is bright as fuck and I have the biggest headache in the entire world, so I just wanted to come on here and do a quick little intro. I quickly learned that the brightness is not adjustable, so this is what I'm gonna have to deal with for the rest of my life. But hey, at least now I have great lighting. I have been experimenting with lighting for about 2 weeks now, and I think this is the best it's gonna get. Today I am back with a tutorial on this look right here. It is a completed look, so it'll include my foundation, powder, contouring, yada yada. Today's tutorial is not a talk through, and the reason for that is because when I sat down, I really had no idea what I wanted to do. All I knew was that I really wanted to use the OCC lip tar and lip pencil in Sebastian, which I'm wearing right now. So had it been a talk through, it probably would have been like 30 or 40 minutes long because I was just winging it, and this is what we came up with. So if you guys want to see how to get this look, then please keep on watching. First, I am priming my eyelids with the Essence I Heart Stage eyeshadow base, and I'm going to be using my fingers. This is by far my favorite drugstore eye primer. It's too legit to quit. Now I'm filling in my eyebrows with my MAC brow pencil. I skipped through this part of the video because I have an entire video dedicated to my eyebrows, which I will include in the description box below. I'm starting out this look by applying some of the NYX blush in Taupe as a transition shade into my crease with an art store brush. And the reason I'm using this particular shade is because it is a cool toned brown, and I'm sort of going for an overall cool look, if you know what I'm saying. Next, I'm taking a bit of this Jordana eyeshadow in Creamy Vanilla, and I'm placing it on my brow bone. Now I'm going back into my crease, and I'm going to deepen it a little bit further with the Jordana eyeshadow in Mauve My Way. For the rest of my lid, I'll be using Hustle from the original Naked palette by Urban Decay. I like this shade because it's kind of got a deep plum undertone with a bit of shimmer. You don't have to use this shade. If you have a drugstore dupe, go ahead and use it, but make sure that it's sort of like a cool plum undertone. So once I've got a base down of that, I'm going to do another layer, except this time I'm spraying a little bit of MAC Fix Plus on my brush so that the color applies a bit more pigmented. And the brush I'm using for all of this is a dupe for the MAC 217 brush. Using a Real Techniques blending brush, I'm taking another Jordana eyeshadow in Total Blackout, and I'm placing it on the outer edge of my eye, very slightly into my crease. This is a matte black eyeshadow, and so far all of the Jordana eyeshadows that I've used are matte, and they're absolutely fabulous, and I would highly recommend them. Now I'm just sort of blowing out that shade with my art store brush again. I'm cleaning up any fallout that's on my skin with the Lancome eye makeup remover and a Q-tip. I did this part of the eye look before I applied my foundation because there tends to be a lot of fallout when I use these types of shades. So after I clean up my eyes, I'm taking that same Jordana eyeshadow in Creamy Vanilla, and I'm reapplying it to my brow bone, as well as diffusing the harsh edges that the Q-tip created on the edge of my eyes. Alright, onto the skin. I'm priming my face with the Hourglass Mineral Veil, and if you guys have oily skin like me, this is your new best friend. And then for foundation, I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte 24-Hour Foundation, which I didn't get a shot of for this video, but the shade that I'm using is Natural Buff. And let me tell you, this foundation is, guess what? The titties, that's what. It's super great for oily skin, it has awesome coverage, lasts all day. And the brush that I'm using to apply it today is the Sonia Kashuk flat top Kabuki brush, which in my opinion is the perfect brush for this foundation. For concealer today, I'm going to be using the new Maybelline Master Conceal in the shade Light. This concealer is no joke, it's super heavy duty, and although it's super heavy duty, I really like to use quite a bit of it because when I do really intense, bold eye makeup like this, I like to have super flawless, immaculate skin, especially underneath my eyes. So I've experimented with this concealer a bit, and I've found that I get the best result when I blend it in with a fluffy brush. This one in particular is by Sigma, and then I further feather it out with a beauty blender, and then I set it right away. I find that I have to blend and set one eye at a time. So what I'm doing here is I'm blending one side, setting it, blending the other side, and setting it. This prevents it from creasing underneath the eye. And the powder that I'm using is the NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat powder in Ivory. To set the rest of my face, I'm using a big powder puff and the Makeup Forever Super Matte Loose Powder. Now I'm taking a flat Art Star brush and Total Blackout by Jordana, and I'm running it along my bottom lash line. And I'm also going to do this with Hustle from the Naked palette with a fluffier brush. And then I'm going to take a bit more of that NYX blush in Taupe and just blow out the entire edge of my eye. So I'm going into my crease and I'm sort of connecting it down to my bottom lash line. I'm just trying to maintain that round shape around my eye, and to do that further, I'm going to touch up my brow bone with Creamy Vanilla and run the remainder of that shade on the perimeter of where my eyeshadow is blown out, if that makes sense. I always tend to clean up the outside of my eye with whatever shade I'm applying on my brow bone, unless of course it's sparkly or something or has shimmer in it. But in this case, it's matte and it really helps to clean up the shape of my eye. Now I'm running a little bit of some random Revlon eyeliner in my waterline and just below my lash line, and I'm gonna smoke that out with a flat brush, and that's gonna add a little bit more drama to my bottom lash line. And then, like the psycho perfectionist that I am, I'm going to touch up the outer edge again with Jordana Blackout. So for the inner shimmer situation that I have going on the first half of my eye, I'm going to start out by patting a little bit of this LA Colors Jumbo Eye Pencil in Saltwater just in my tear duct and the first little portion of my eye. And I'm just sort of gently blending it out with an Art Star brush. This is just acting as a base. I don't want to go any further than the first half of my eyelid. Then I'm going to take some e.l.f. glitter primer and I'm pressing it in the exact same area where I applied the LA Color Saltwater Jumbo Pencil. And then with my finger, I'm going to pat some of this Essence Metal Glam eyeshadow in Coffee Glow over top of that sticky base. This is an antique gold shade and I absolutely love it. And as you can see, I'm just applying it to the first half of my eyelid. And then I'm going to take another Essence eyeshadow, and this one is a Sparkling Effect eyeshadow in Starlight, which is more of a sparkly silver, and I'm going to press it into my tear duct, and then using a pencil brush, I'm just blending it into Coffee Glow so they look like they're seamlessly blending into one another and there's no harsh line between the two. Sometimes it's really hard to put into words exactly what I'm doing, but you can see by my actions what I'm doing, so I really hope the visual helps. Now I'm just touching up the eyeshadow right above my crease with Mauve My Way by Jordana. For mascara today, I'm using the Miss Manga Mascara by L'Oreal, and for false lashes, I'm using Socialeyes lashes in Minx 2.0. They're gorgeous, they're affordable, I'm obsessed. Now I'm contouring my cheeks and my nose with that same NYX blush in Taupe to sort of keep up with that cool tone feel throughout the look. I'm pretty particular about the way that I contour my nose, so I thought I'd include some clips of how I do it. First, I like to shape it with a powder. Here I'm using the NYX blush. Then I highlight the sides and the center with concealer. Today I'm using the same concealer that I used underneath my eyes. And then I set that concealer in place with my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Diffuse Light. First I do this with a small eyeshadow brush for nice precision. Then I switch to a larger setting brush. This one is by e.l.f. and I highly recommend it for anybody looking for a brush to set their under eye concealer. And I also like to run a bit of that Hourglass powder between my brows and just underneath my cheekbones where I've contoured to make them pop a little bit further and to really, really define them. I'm going to throw some Madly Blush by NARS on my cheeks, and I'm using an angled blush brush from Sephora. And then onto my favorite part, drum roll please, the lips. I'm starting by lining my lips with an OCC lip pencil, and this one is in Sebastian. I would describe this shade to be sort of like a cool brown gray shade. I'm pretty sure it's not for everyone, but it has become a deep love of my life, and I think it looks bomb, so I'm gonna use it. Now you can totally leave the lip color as is and just rock the lip liner, but I've decided to show you how Sebastian Lip Tar looks over top of the lip liner if you're interested, just so you can kind of get an idea of the difference in shades. So I'm taking the tiniest amount of lip tar on my lip brush and I'm blending it into the lip liner. And you'll notice that the lip tar is more gray, whereas the lip liner has more of a brown tone to it. Together or alone, I think they look pretty sexual, but I do really like wearing the lip liner on its own. And lastly, I'm setting my entire face with MAC Fix Plus, and I'm doing this because I want to restore some moisture back into my skin. And we're back. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I definitely enjoyed filming it and I really like how it turned out. This is totally my kind of look. And I think if you guys have been watching me for a while, you'll agree. As always, all of the products that I used will be listed in the description box below, along with all of my social media platforms in case you want to drop me a line. If you're into the situation that we came up with, please give this video a thumbs up. I'm gonna go slam some Advil. Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.